Have you ever held yourself back from something big because a quiet voice inside whispered, "People like me don't do things like that"? Maybe you had a business idea, but you told yourself you should start smaller. Maybe you dreamed of leading others, but convinced yourself you were safer following. Or maybe you watched others achieve extraordinary things and think, "They're different, they have something I don't." Let it breathe. If you've ever made yourself smaller to fit inside what you believed was possible, then this story is for you. Because once there was a man who lived his entire life thinking small, until one unexpected question shattered every limit he had ever built. And what happened next didn't just change his life, it changed the lives of thousands. Stay with me until the end.
In a quiet town where everyone knew each other's names lived a 33-year-old man named Ethan Hale. Ethan owned a small neighborhood grocery store. Nothing fancy, a few narrow aisles, a worn counter, old shelves stocked with everyday items. It was the store his father had built, and the store his father had passed down. And Ethan believed something deeply. Enough is enough. His father used to say, "Don't aim too high, son. Big dreams make big falls. Small and steady keeps you safe." So Ethan lived by that rule. When customers suggested expanding, he smiled politely. "I'm happy right here." When his wife Maya showed him articles about people who started small and built empires, Ethan shook his head. "They're different. They have money, connections, confidence. We're just ordinary." But late at night, when the store was closed, when the lights were dim, Ethan would stand at the window and stare at the empty lot next door. Big enough for something more. For just a moment, he would imagine wider aisles, a cafe corner, a place where people gathered, not just shopped. And then the voice would return. "Who do you think you are?" And the dream would shrink back into silence.
Ethan didn't realize it then, but he wasn't thinking small because he was realistic. He was thinking small because he was afraid. Then, one autumn morning, everything changed. A massive supermarket chain announced they were opening just 2 blocks away. Bright lights, cheaper prices, endless variety. Within 3 months, Ethan's customers vanished. Familiar faces walked past his store apologetically. "Sorry, Ethan, it's just easier." His daily sales dropped by half, bills stacked up, savings drained. One night, after the worst sales day in 15 years, Ethan locked the door early. He sat behind the counter, head in his hands, and whispered something he had never said before. "I should have done more." For the first time, he understood the truth. Thinking small hadn't protected him. It had left him defenseless. Maya found him there later. She didn't speak at first. She just sat beside him. Then she said quietly, "There's someone you should meet." Victor Liang, a businessman who had built one of the largest retail chains in the region. He grew up here. He started with less than you. Ethan looked up, bitter. Why would someone like him talk to someone like me? Maya met his eyes. Because once he was exactly like you. That night, Ethan barely slept. Before sunrise, he made a decision that terrified him. He would ask for help.
3 days later, Ethan stood in Victor Liang's office, 20 floors above the city. From the window, the town looked small. Victor was calm, simple clothes, eyes that had seen failure and success. He gestured to a chair. "Sit." Ethan spoke quickly. My store is failing. I'm not built for big things. Victor smiled. I said the same thing once. He walked to the window. Come here. Do you see that building? 20 years ago, that was an empty lot. Someone stood there and decided to think bigger than dirt and weeds. Victor turned to Ethan. Do you know what made it possible? Ethan shook his head. One decision. They chose to think beyond what they could see. Victor picked up 2 containers, a small cup and a large glass vase. He filled the cup with water. This is small thinking. It fills quickly, feels safe. Then he poured it into the vase. The water barely touched the bottom. When you think bigger, the same effort has room to expand. He looked directly at Ethan. The store isn't your limit. Your thinking is.
Ethan whispered, "What if I fail?" Victor smiled gently. The pain of regret lasts longer than failure. You don't need to know how today. You just need to decide you won't live in the small cup anymore. That night, Ethan and Maya stayed awake until 3 a.m. Not worrying, planning, not how to survive, but how to transform.
2 weeks later, Ethan bought the empty lot, every dollar of savings, a loan that made his man shake. Construction began. People called him crazy. You can't beat a giant. Ethan smiled. I'm not trying to beat them. I'm building something they can't. A place of connection, a cafe, local farmers, community. The first month was brutal. Delays, costs, doubt. But Ethan remembered the vase, and he kept going.
3 months later, the store was alive. People didn't just shop, they stayed. 6 months later, it was thriving. Victor returned. He walked through slowly, then said quietly, "You didn't save a store. You built a community." Ethan smiled. I stopped thinking small.
This story isn't about business. It's about every dream you shrank to fit your fear. Your potential was never the problem. Your thinking was. Ask yourself, if I knew I couldn't fail, what would I attempt? Write it down. Don't shrink it. Pick the vase and fill it. Your life is only as big as your thinking. Stop living in the cup.